Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again. Here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video giving my thoughts on who is my favorite villain so far for the Walking Dead television series. You know, if it makes you feel any better, you taste much better than we thought you would. Oh, it's not Gareth. I'll say right off the bat, it's not Gareth. And don't worry, just a chicken wing. No survivors were harmed in the filming of this video. But yeah, Gareth and the Hunters, I did kind of a villains tribute video to them last week. Kind of gave my thoughts on them. And I mean, really, the thing about them is they're very scary, they're very intimidating, they're very easy villains to hate. They're definitely not my favorite because they don't have that relatable aspect to them. So you guys who've seen the video, you know what I mean by that. You kind of understand where I'm coming from with that. They're just not relatable. You could never see yourself in their shoes. Yeah, just couldn't see. I mean, is it possible it could happen? Yeah, I mean, it's happened at certain points in human history. You get people that are cannibals and stuff like that. It's just really dark and really, yeah. So definitely not my favorite. I would rule them out right away. They're really cool for what they do in terms of their kind of style and how they make the show really scary and really horrific. And Gareth is a really cool mastermind villain with kind of a Joker-esque feel to him. I want to say like a Heath Ledger Joker-esque feel. Nothing personal. But yeah, definitely not my favorite. So now this one depends on how you feel about Shane. If you view Shane as a villain, then he's probably my favorite, but I don't view him as a villain. Again, with the villains video, you guys know I've kind of discussed this. If you see things from his perspective, he's not really a villain. Rick kind of takes over the group from him without him, going along with that. He obviously didn't like that. Lori was his, and then Rick comes back and, of course, takes her back because it's his wife. And it's just a really weird situation. The whole Baby Judith thing, who's the father of Baby Judith. You can understand that someone would react in such a capacity where, one of the two of them would survive, the other wouldn't. It's a struggle for power, it's a struggle for leadership, and, it makes a lot of sense. So I don't view Shane as a villain, and I don't count him. If I did, he'd be my favorite. Straight up. There's my custom Shane figure. It's pretty dope. So let's move on from him to our next major villain, the Governor. Yeah, the Governor. And then, of course, Merle was a villain, too. And he was a fun villain as well. But, of course, he's kind of like an anti-hero. He goes from, like, kind of a villain to a good guy, so to speak, in the end. So he doesn't really count either. But just as a straight villain, the Governor is awesome, man. I really like the Governor. In some capacities, he has some similarities to the Hunters, where he just says screw everybody else, but he more or less is kind of he calls himself a pirate, doesn't he, in season 4, right? And he is, he will kill people and take what they have in order to better his group, because of what's happened to him throughout the zombie apocalypse, and what he thinks other people are going to do to him. And in a lot of occasions, he's right. Had he have dealt with somebody like the Hunters coming after him or something like that, I think he would have been able to handle them really, really well, because he had a really good community there with Woodbury, which I do prefer the Woodbury community over the season 4 kind of rebirth of the Governor taking over a group which is kind of just has a camp and is not really that well established, seemingly. Their leadership isn't that strong, and they were kind of in dire straits anyway, so they may not have survived anyway, whether or not the Governor came and did what he did with them. But particularly with Woodbury, I really liked what they did with the Governor and the kind of the progression throughout the season, to where when he started off at the beginning, he was just screw everybody else, and he was a villain from the get-go. And of course, he had the tanks with the heads and stuff, which is really twisted. But he had kind of a somewhat of a relatable side as well too, because you could kind of feel for him that he'd lost, or Penny he thought was, well, she was a zombie, but he kind of knew, but he didn't want to accept that fact. But I really did like what they did with him, in that they kind of gave him that sort of a relatable side to a degree, but you kind of still knew he was evil, so you could kind of feel for him a little bit. But then he would go over the top and kill characters like Milton and Andrea and that. And he was a lot more easy to root for than somebody like the Hunters and Gareth and that. So out of all the different villains in the Walking Dead TV series, I think I'd have to probably go with the Governor in terms of a leader. We're seeing the new leader there, Dawn, of the hospital. She's okay. I still would prefer the Governor over her quite a bit. I think he's a much stronger leader. I think that Woodbury, the Woodbury group, probably would have, if they went against Dawn's group, probably would have beaten them, I would have to say. I would think so. And let's see, who else we got? Joe was pretty cool. Joe was not bad. I thought he was good to kind of fill out season 4, because there was a little bit of a lull there, and I thought his group added a lot of excitement. And so he was okay too, but I would say I still like the Governor over him. And Dave and Tony in the bar. Who else we got? I mean, there's some more random occurrences here and there throughout the series, but all in all, yeah, I'd have to say the Governor is probably my favorite villain still. When we see Negan in the TV series, I guess we'll see how that goes and kind of what we think about him. I'm interested to see their interpretation. In the comic book series, I think I like the comic book series Negan better than the comic book series Governor. But I like the TV series Governor a lot more than the comic book series. I think David Morrissey does a great job of kind of humanizing him and kind of showing the two sides of him, where he's got that really nice side to his people, and you can see why they would get behind him and support him. And then he's got the other darker side, which they don't see, which is the stuff he's going out and doing on runs. Just really exciting stuff. So yeah, all in all, I felt like the Governor really was the most exciting all around. I really like the story they told with him, Merle, Martinez, everybody else, in especially season 3. The season 4 kind of comeback I thought was really well done. I enjoyed it a lot too. But season 3, up until this point, is still my favorite season, because you kind of have the Governor as sort of the antithesis of Rick. He's kind of the opposite. Like, you have Rick, which is the leader of a group who always tries to do the right thing, is a really nice guy, will take in other people, will help other groups. And like when Morales was leaving in season 1, he'd even give him, gun, give him bullets, do things like this, be really nice to others. Herschel, really understanding there. He wouldn't just take the farm. He would, he would be nice and use charisma and kindness to get people to join. And, was really nice earlier on in the series. And the Governor was just like the opposite of that. Whereas if he saw somebody like Herschel with the farm, he would probably get him to join the community because of what he knows. But, with regards to supplies and things like that, he would just kill people, take their stuff like it's nothing. He would, try to make himself more powerful all the time. He had a really strict in terms of like his group and who answers to him and everything, and really keeping everybody in line. And I just really liked the Governor a lot. I thought he was awesome. And this video was actually requested by YouTube username The Governor. So there you go, man. There's your video. Yes, it's true. The Governor is still my favorite villain from the TV series. From the comic book series, probably would be Negan, I'd have to say. Yeah. So even after the Hunters, Dawn, everybody else we've had, the Governor is still my favorite. David Morrissey. I got the poster right there. He's like the perfect villain. He's everything you would want. He's crafty, he's intelligent, he's a thinker, he's playing chess, and he's strategizing, he's coming up with things. And then, of course, the final showdown in Too Far Gone being my favorite episode of a TV series ever. Just loved it, man. Awesome. Let me know who your guys' favorite villain is from the Walking Dead television series. And you can do comic book series too if you want. If they're the same, go ahead and write those in the comments. If they're different, that's fine. Write them in the comments below too. For me, they're different. Negan, comic book series, TV series, The Governor. And so again, if you liked it, please thumb it up. If you want to help support the channel, guys, please share it. Please favorite it. And yeah, that's it for this one, guys. See you for the next one. If you have any other video suggestions, send them to me. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace.